Hello, Ryan Fritz here with Science of Cardio, talking to you about the differences between isometric resistance training and traditional strength training. Traditional strength training is with dumbbells or bands or barbells or machines. Isometric is pushing in or pulling something that doesn't move, might be a wall or a bar or something. Basically, it's more force than you can move it. So pushing to a car is a good form of isometric. So the biggest reason that I promote and believe in isometrics is time under tension. So an example is when you're doing traditional bicep curls, let's use that as an example, it might take maybe a second, half a second to do a rep. Okay, so let's say you did 10 reps of those, okay? That would be about 10 seconds of work. And let's say we did maybe 3 sets, so you have 30 seconds of time under tension with that resistance, okay? In the isometric world, you can do 3 sets of 30, so 3 times 30 is 90 seconds of time under tension. So you're holding something for 30 seconds, and then you do another set, and then you do a third set. So just that example, 3 sets of 30 time under tension in isometric land, or 3 sets of 10, you're getting a lot more volume with the isometrics, and you're not getting as much time under tension. So you can do a lot more as far as isometrics go in a shorter or the same amount of time as you would with the concentric exercise. Okay, the next big important thing about isometrics versus traditional exercise or strength training, isometrics are static, so you don't have any movement. So you push into something and it doesn't move. Okay, this is very safe for your joints, and it doesn't create a lot of damage to your ligaments and your joints. Now, when you go to the movement side, we're putting a ton of stress and a lot of emphasis on these joints. And we're asking them to do a lot. We're asking them to gas and brake, gas and brake. So it's a lot more stressful environment than pushing into something and not doing anything. So another cool thing is with isometrics, you decrease your inflammation. Your heart rate doesn't get as high. It's not as damaging because you don't have any parts that are moving. Okay, when you're doing traditional strength training, you got lots of parts that are moving, and you're putting a lot of stress and potential damage or injury onto your joint. So that's where we get a lot of bursitis, inflammation, tendonitis, things like that, because of overuse and working the joint too much. Okay, another benefit that I try to explain to people, isometrics versus traditional strength training. Isometrics, you can do some really cool combinations. You can do a leg exercise with an arm exercise and maybe a neck exercise depending on your setup. And you can get real focused about what you're doing, very specific. With traditional strength training, you can do combinations or multi-jointed exercise, something like a lunge with a row. And you can do push press, squat and press, things like that. But you're not as focused, so you have less concentration. You're trying to stay balanced and not fall over. I don't think you personally get the intensity because you're trying to manage the balance, stability part of your body. So I'll explain that a little bit more. Another great benefit, isometrics decrease joint stress. Okay, you can control how much you push, how little you push. Isometrics, again, lots of joint stress, lots of things moving, working parts that your body has to manage. Okay, another great perk to doing isometrics versus traditional strength is when you do isometrics, you can focus on what you're doing. So if you're doing like a trunk rotation, you can think about this stuff and concentrate and really get involved into your muscle and your body. When you're doing movement, you got lots of stuff to manage and think about. You know, I'm trying to keep my feet down, trying to rotate my trunk, I'm trying to hold this thing, I'm holding my arms up, my body's twisting and turning. So a lot of distraction, a lot of things that you need to kind of focus on and think about. You can't focus on a ton of things while you're challenging yourself. It's just real hard to do. Biggest or one of the awesome benefits of isometrics is efficiency. You can go through and do a 3 exercise isometric, or combo is what I call them, and you can do basically 2 or 3 exercises in the same time it takes you to do 1 exercise with traditional lifting. So traditional lifting, from my experience, takes a lot longer. It's usually 2 to 3 times longer to do the same exercises. But again, that added benefit of time under tension, we can do a workout in half the time and get just as much time under tension, or possibly more, than traditional lifting. And then the last big thing is you can adjust the pressure on your ISOs. You can push 25%, 75%, 100%. So if you have an injury, you can really back off on that, and you can customize it for your body or your joint needs and goals, depending on what your body needs or can or can't do. With a traditional weight band or dumbbell, barbell machine, you basically have to apply the force to get the thing to move. Okay, so you know, if it's real heavy and you can't move it, you drop the weight down, and then you say, oh, this is kind of light, I need to go up a little bit. I can't really move that and do what I'm trying to accomplish. So then you're kind of stuck in between. You know, a lot of machines have like 10 or 15 pound increments, and there's so many people that are in between the 10 pounds and the 20 pounds. And some gyms have like a 5 pound, but you know, what about 11 pounds? What about 12 pounds? What about 13 pounds? So those increments. So that makes it more challenging for you to do that exercise. With the isometrics, you can just kind of change the intensity of pressure. That makes it challenging and hard, because you really have to be pushed, motivated, and kind of in tune with how hard are you pushing, how light are you pushing, what's your intensity. So food for thought. Great kind of examples of isometrics versus traditional strength training.